I'm Jennifer Balcombe and I am a photographer, and I got into photography mainly because of my dad. Actually, he always took pictures, and he's a great observer of things, and I think that kind of rubbed off on me from a really young age. And he always used to read the newspaper, and I just loved looking at the images. So photojournalism was kind of my initial first love within photography. So when I went to university, I studied that at LCC, which I loved, but I went away a lot. I went away with Médecins Sans Frontières, and I visited the West Bank and Israel, and it was an incredible experience, but it kind of made me realise that that wasn't quite the path I wanted to go down. And I looked at my images and I came back and I'd just taken tons and tons of portraits. And so I thought, okay, this is where I want to specialise, this is where I want to go. And so I started assisting as soon as I left university, and then I've just taken it from there, really. So my project Brother is about my brother, who was born my sister and is transgender and is currently transitioning. So when I started kind of getting into photography and at university, I was so inspired by kind of Nan Goldin, Diane Arbus, Larry Sultan, you know, people who turn the camera in on themselves, and which I find very brave. I think it's really raw to be able to do that. And when my brother kind of said, this is who I want to be, this is the choice I'm making, I then approached him and said, can we collaborate on something together? Can I take portraits of you as you change? Because I felt it was so important for that to be seen, especially somebody who's going from female to male, because it's really uncommon. It's much less common than male to female. And thankfully, it was kind of the perfect storm. He wanted to do it, I wanted to take pictures, and it was just, everything was unfolding. So, I mean, it's still in very early stages of the project, but I think if you can't be personal about what's going on, if you can't turn your kind of creativity in on yourself, then, I don't know, I think there's something lacking. It's not an insult to anyone else, but I personally like to make a lot of work about what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing, because it's so emotional, and I feel like I give the best of myself when I do that. So for me, doing this project with him is kind of, it's just opening me up as a photographer. I find I'm being much more patient, because it's hard with a sibling, you know, we still have silly little sibling kind of arguments about stuff, and you know, there's personal things completely outside of our project that get in the way, but being able to teach yourself to put those things aside and really focus on something else I think it's a skill. When I'm photographing him, I don't find it that difficult, which sounds quite odd because of the nature of the project. But I think because of my experience shooting kind of photojournalism when I started out quite early, you know, you have to be able to walk into any situation and be able to talk to anyone, and that can be a highly kind of tense thing, or just getting somebody to open up. So for me, actually taking portraits isn't the difficult part. The part that is really emotional for me is when I hand them over to him and he writes the captions for each image. When I read them, some of the early ones, they just break my heart to know that that's how he felt, and I never really knew that fully. So for me, it's his words that really affect me, and I almost feel kind of a pressure because I want to do his story justice. Doing this project with my brother has been really important to me because I haven't seen a lot of work that's this raw. I've seen a lot of incredible projects about transitioning and transgender and people who identify as gender neutral and so on. But it was almost the perfect storm of the combination of him wanting to do it and me being able to photograph him. And I think that people need to see that this is a huge deal. It's not something that somebody treads into lightly. You know, he's just had his chest reconstruction, and that is a huge operation to go through, and it's painful, and it's, you know, you really have to know that that's what you want and that's who you are, and to feel so strongly that that's your identity and that you want to kind of change to be who you feel that you were meant to be. I think that's a really important thing to focus on, regardless of if it is my brother or anyone else. And also it's nice for me because my brother has a lot of friends who are transitioning as well, and they've kind of come forward to me and said, oh, please can you take my portrait? Or I've seen some of the images you've done, I love them, it makes me feel stronger, and that's really important to me because I want people to see my brother's strength and what he's going through and gain something from that. I think if photographs aren't emotive and they don't bring something out in somebody, then what's the point in taking them? So my absolute dream for this project going forward would be to make it into a book. I mean, that's a very long-term goal, because obviously my brother's transition is a long-term thing. It's only in the very early stages. And I'm also starting to shoot still lives of, you know, his binder, the testosterone bottle, and as he becomes more and more male, you know, I'd love to do a shot of his first shave, you know, once he grows hair and things like that. So I'm currently working with a stylist to work on the still life part of it, which I'm looking forward to beginning. But yeah, the ultimate goal, the dream would be to have it as a book, and if then that exposed me to more people who had more stories, I'd love to shoot their stories, because my love will always be documentary photography. That's where I started. I love the commercial stuff I do. I love doing portraits. I love doing food and drink stuff and lifestyle. But documentary is so in the core of my being and personality, and I think that it's so, for me, I love that I have the balance at the moment of those two things.